Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kids of all ages, welcome to episode 4 of the Trav Torch Show. I'm your host, Trav Torch. And before I get started, real quick, I released a video for Don't Leave Me. So make sure you check that out on my YouTube channel, the Trav Torch YouTube channel. Also, special shout out to the legendary R&B group, the Force MDs. They had me on their morning show on Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. So major shout out to them. If you are watching this show on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on some other type of service, make sure you do what you could do there. It'll really help me out. I appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get right into today's episode. Episode 4, Making Music Your Business, with special guest Tony Sway. Tony
Yo,
Sway,
what
what's
up?
up,
Your
brother?
boy Tony Sway was good. Trav Torch, man. Here with my R&B brother, man. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? I'm glad to be here. You know what I
Pleasure,
mean? So,
pleasure to have you, man. Long
yes, sir.
overdue. So, for the people out there, just go ahead and briefly explain who you are and what you do.
So my name is Tony Sway. I started doing music really young, like 12, 13. Mom got me, a little synthesizer. I was listening to I listened to the New Jack Swing era, like the Albie Shore and Guy, Teddy Riley, Blackstreet. And then I was also listening to like DJ Quick and Pac and people like that when I was really young. And I was like, Mom, what's that sound on that record? And she goes, Tony, that's a synthesizer. And I was like, I got to get one of those. You know what I mean? So I got me little keyboards and just started doing music. And once the internet came out, like with MySpace, when MySpace was really big, I started uploading little beats on there and stuff like that. And
Was Tom on your top 8?
yeah, Tom, man, he was like in everybody's top, man. But Tom, yeah, like, man, like, shout out to Tom for real though, because that MySpace like changed. That's what gave me like my start with music business. Like, people started asking, hey, let me buy that beat or let me buy that CD, and that's where it all started. So
Interesting.
yeah.
That's what's up. Because MySpace, I feel like MySpace was really big, but not a lot of people, not a lot of musicians were able to capitalize off of it.
Yeah. So a lot of people didn't know, how to use it properly, but there were some people on there that was, I knew one guy who was like doing 6 figures on his albums just through, just like MySpace friends and stuff. And that inspired me. And, I was like, at the time I was like, oh, I still gotta, I should be out trying to contact big business people in order to make this, something that I could do for my life. But, I started seeing that there was a way, like, look, there's people there and people want product. They're asking for beats, and I had my, like singing on the side because I'm an artist as well. And so people were asking for CDs and for beats. So I was like, they go, yo, I'll buy it. And I'm like, oh, word. And they were like, one person was like, you got PayPal? I was like, what's PayPal?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was my first introduction into selling on music online, really, Yeah.
Wow. So you said that you got into music, like you like the synthesizer, and your mom got you like a little keyboard or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you like classically trained, or you self-taught, or how did that come about?
Just, self-taught, my dad's side of the family are all jazz musicians. So I kind of just grew up listening to, that bebop jazz. My grandpa's Sonny Simmons. He's like, a bebop jazz artist. And my grandma was a trumpet player. And I just grew up like being around their rehearse sessions all the time. And then, when I got to a certain age and I started, my mom picked me up a keyboard, I just, started messing around. And I didn't learn, how to read or write music. It was just, all by ear. And I think my aunt and my grandma may have shown me like 2 chords. And from there, I just, just started learning stuff myself and studying all of Teddy Riley, like, playing the Guy album and trying to figure out the chords to Piece of My Love and like, stuff like that. And little bass lines like the doom, doom, doo, 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 like, and that was it. And I just kept going with it. And I should have studied music theory and stuff, but I guess I kind of stayed away from it because I wanted to just be. As I got older, I was like, you know what? I just want to learn the feel of music. I don't want to get into the technical side. Not that that's not great, but I just want to be all about the emotion, and that's kind of how I learned it. And it helped me develop my ear, where like really good, like to a certain level where I can hear a lot. You know what I mean? So, um, you
Yeah,
know,
that's dope. I had a producer on my one of my main producers on the second episode, Wicked Keys, and he said the same thing. He said he just goes entirely based off of ear. I found it to be surprising with you because your beats are usually like really musical,
thanks.
and usually the people that go go wild on the keyboard are the ones that studied it and they know the different chords and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not afraid to make mistakes. Like, I listen to, Davis, where he has that one quote that he talks about, like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's something about how, even the off notes is still music. And that
Yeah.
always resonated with me. Like, even stuff that's bad can still be music. So I was like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's about a feeling. So I'm just always trying to, sometimes I'll do stuff that I know is wrong, but it feels a certain way. And I'll be like, let me just try that. Sometimes I'll play it, like I'll go outside of the chord or something. I'll play a note outside of the chord and just go over it really quick, and I'll be like, that sounds cool. It's probably not right, but it sounds cool. You
This is
know,
basically what you're saying. Sometimes guys just do stuff that's wrong because it feels right. That's how we wired. It is what
that's
it
how
is.
we're wired, man. Yeah, that's how we're wired. I mean, not, so, but I think I get like the musical side is because, I did have a lot of time where I got to play piano in church. So like every service, and it kind of teaches you to just go with, with the emotion or the spirit, as they would say in church. And I just got used to just playing to the emotion of the crowd and trying to, go off that energy. You know what I mean? So if
Nice.
people are crying or something like that, I play to that emotion. Or if people need to be happy, I'm, trying to hype it up. And I just, whatever comes out, you just let it flow.
Yeah,
And
music is definitely a way to tap into people's emotions.
exactly, man. So that's it. That's for me. That's how I go about it, So
Dope, dope. So who are some of the people that you've worked with?
um, I worked with Frankie J, Frankie J and Baby Bash. Those guys had the Sugar, how you get so fly, like that record. I produced a couple of his independent albums. A track called "Finish What We Started." If anybody wants to look that up, that was probably the one that I'm most proud of. It's a really nice like R&B record for him, and so he's a great guy. I worked with him several times, and some of the other people that I worked most recently, I got a placement with Tigga. I don't know him personally, but that was more based on some producers they took my melody without my permission, and they kind of made like this big TikTok hit with it called "Vibe Throw It Back," and
Okay.
you know most recently we came to a settlement and they were cool. Like the artist's name, her name is Cookie, and she featured Tigger on the record, or Tyga on the
Tiger,
record.
yeah, Tiger.
Yeah, Tyga, I'm saying it wrong, but yeah, she ended up being cool. Some young producers sampled it, and but so I ended up getting kind of a placement, kind of in a weird way, because they took it, but they ended up being cool. Like the label bent, they gave me my publishing share and gave me a fair deal and stuff like that. So I'm like, but that's my most recent placement. And then of course I got stuff with, my hero Albie Shore and his son Quincy. I did like a little remake to The Night and Day. And then, I have some mixtape records with like some of the, cats from 112 and stuff like that got on some of my beats. And yeah, just, I'm all about the R&B sound, man. You
That's
know?
dope. So you ended up working with your hero. Two questions on that. One, how did that feel? And two, how did you even make that happen? Because I know a lot of people are out there. They have people that they want to work with. They got goals, and you've actually managed to get it done. So just talk about one, how did it feel, and two, how did you pull that off?
I'll tell you exactly. So what it really was is back in 2010, I was scouring, Twitter and just going through artists' Twitter. And I noticed, I knew Quincy because he was on like MTV and stuff like that. And he started doing music, and he
And
was putting it.
Quincy Puffy's Albie Shore / Puffy son.
Exactly. So he started putting on his Twitter that he was, starting to do music. And I was like, yo, like, I'm just going to, I'm going to submit something on Twitter or to his email. And he like right away, he was like, yo, this, man, your beats, man, I love your beats. And from there, I kind of began like this, this music production relationship with them. He called me up. He's like, yo, come meet me in San Francisco. He was kicking it out there. We met up and, just started like, a business, like friendship. And, he's real cool people and it's like real humble, not what you would expect actually, like real humble dude. And, he took me out there to the mansion, one of their mansions. And I was like, whoa, I'm trying not to be starstruck, but I'm just chilling out there in Diddy's house and stuff
Was Diddy there?
He was there. Yeah. I didn't want to, get in this, like, I always play, like when I see people, I act like I don't know who they are but inside I'm like, oh, yo, but I have respect because I'm at their house and stuff like that. But yeah, I just literally met him off Twitter. And then next thing you know, a year later, he's like flying me down to LA. And I met, first San Francisco, then LA, and, bringing me out to their mansion and stuff like that. And just bringing me out to the studios out there in LA. And he was like, yo, like, can you do a remake of my dad Al B's song 9 Day? And I'm like, I'm all over it, man. So that was it. He ended up being really cool. He liked my music. And I just started going out to LA and just collabing. And then he goes, hey, yo, my dad, I'm going to put this together. My dad don't know about it. Come out and I'm going to bring you out. And he actually surprised his dad. He didn't even know. Like he didn't know. So it was kind of a really beautiful moment because, God rest his mom, so Kim Porter. I got to meet Kim Porter too. Like, so I went to the studio and it was like, dude, like I'm from Washington State. This is like this is like Nirvana and all these rock bands come from besides Quincy Jones did live in Seattle for a while, but this is like, alternative capital. I never made no connections in my life. So imagine not knowing anybody from the industry. So like a couple years later, you're meeting all your idols and stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy, man. And I was like, when I went there and then I saw Al B in the driveway and I'm walking up with Quincy and I'm like, yo, what's up, Al B? And I'm like, this is crazy. Somehow it just manifests itself. And, we went in there and Al B he didn't know what we was doing. And Quincy was like, yo, check out what we're working on. And he pushed play and Al B was like, he was emotional and stuff. And, it was like a real beautiful moment because then his mom came in and, his mom was like the sweetest lady in the world. Like, honestly, like, right. She gives everybody a hug. No, like everybody in the studio, she just gives them all up. She gave everybody a hug. Like, and it was just like this really warm vibe. And I'm like, man, I just felt blessed to be, it was more so just the moment itself. Like, it was like, dang, Albie's like, this is a dude I've been looking up to musically for years, you know what I mean? And it was just like a great moment to be a part of, honestly. And then little did I know that, down the line that he would end up losing his mom, you know what I mean? Like, so to see that, it was emotional for him and his family because, it just was one of those things like, it was really not just to work on it, but just to witness the family aspect of it was really beautiful, honestly, man. So,
right.
But yeah, I was in there jamming. I was like, Albie was doing this thing in the studio and he was hyped, dude. He was hyped, bro. Like, cause he didn't know. He was like, he turned into like a football player in the studio cause he was so hyped, man. And, yeah, it was, I don't have too many moments that can top that, honestly. That was like, that was real big for me. You know what I mean? So
That definitely sounds legendary.
Oh, you know
Oh,
who else was there? Sterling. You remember Sterling Sims?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
he was like, dude, you know who I am? I'm like, bro, I was listening to that Nasty Girl when I lived in Sacramento, bro. I was like, that was all over the club
He
radio.
did the jump off song, right?
I think so.
No,
Yeah,
you want to be my jump off?
yeah. I think yeah, he did
Girl,
that.
what do you say?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he had that record. He had a couple other
Yeah.
records. I
That,
I, I lived out in the Bay Area for a while, and he had a song called Nasty Girl that was really big out
yeah.
there. But yeah, he was Quincy's like A&R or something. He was there too. Yeah.
That's cool. So the first the first lesson from this show is initiative. Is even you can pray all you want, you can hope all you want, but if you don't put yourself out there, like you put yourself out there on Twitter, you made something happen.
Yeah, you have to have belief. You know, you have to have belief, and you have to take some kind of action. You know, it was like an opportunity that came up real quick. I could have easily just said, "Oh, I don't want to do this. He's gonna think my beats are whack." A lot of people, I feel like that. Like people don't realize how insecure musicians are.
Yeah,
Like on the outside, we'll be like, "Yeah, I got it," but a lot of times we are deep down. A lot of times we can be like really like self conscious about what we're doing, and so just like anybody, I'm always nervous when I show something to somebody. So it's just
I understand. I understand.
yeah.
So who are some people that you'd like to work with in the future?
People that I would like to work with in the future. I definitely got to get on one of your projects, man, because I like what you're doing.
I
Um,
appreciate that. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do. You're gonna be on. You're gonna be on the bedroom soundtrack.
yeah,
That's
yeah, man.
coming next year.
Yeah, man. I like what you're doing, and you know, um, who anybody else that I want to work with? I like some of the like some of the newer R&B that's coming out, like like Sabrina Claudio and who else? There's some people that I've been checking for. It's not a whole lot though, to be honest. But of course, I would like to get some records with Chris Brown or people like that. Just like I shoot big. Like why not have a record with Rihanna or something like Rihanna? I feel like she's low key really great at R&B records. Like she has this her last album. She has this song called "Yeah, I Said It," and like people are
Yeah,
sleeping on that song, but that's like a really dope R&B baby maker. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I want to work with people like that as well. So I think in time, stuff like that will come about. You know what I mean? So
As long as you keep going,
yeah.
as
So
long as you keep pushing. What? So the title of today's show is "Making Music Your Business," and that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to have you particularly on, because I know that we've spoken before, and you said that this is what you do full time. You don't have a 9 to 5,
yeah,
and you were able to provide not only just for yourself but for your family off
yep,
of music, which is dope, and it's what a lot of people aspire. People who are like true musicians, artists, whatever.
yeah.
A lot of people aspire to have that type of situation. So, if you don't mind, just describe one how you got to that point. If you were working a job prior, and when you felt you could quit, and then kind of go into the different elements of your business, the different things that you do to make money.
Yeah, no doubt. So actually, back in 2000 and between 2007 and 2010, I was actually working at like Best Buy, like the electronics store,
Yeah,
and it was real cool though because I wasn't making much money at all.
I
Like,
actually could see you with one of them blue shirts on. No, I'm
yeah,
just
that
kidding.
was me. That was me, man. And the cool thing is that I was selling my music at the same time, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills. But I had started like I had a distribution set up where I actually was selling my own CD in the store. So I used to get in trouble all the time, walking, taking my CD around the store and be like, "Hey, buy this," and I'd get all these people to buy it, and the manager would be like, "Yo, focus on selling, computers or something." And I'll be like, well, this is my product, and it's you guys get make $1 off of this as well. And they're like, well, Anthony, and I'll be like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna sell my CD. And, if you want, I
Hustler
was, I
mindset.
was, Yeah, I was a bit more charming. I wasn't rude to the managers, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna sell your computers, but you're not gonna stop me from selling my CD. You know what I mean? So I kind of butted heads a little bit because I was always kind of an independent thinker. So it got to the point where I was working in Vacaville, California, and at Best Buy in 2010, which was my last year, and I was giving out my CD there, and the manager was like, I'm tired of seeing you making beats on the cash register all the time. And I'm like, and at that point I was making like $1,000 a month for selling beats. And that's all I needed to pay my half of the rent. So I was like, you know what? I don't want this job anymore. I quit. And she's like, and then the manager was like, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you quit. I was going to fire you anyway. I'm like, well, I don't need the job anymore. Because I was making like $200 a month there. I was like, oh, I could just make a beat, like make up for that extra couple $100. So that was my start.
So at that point you were already making more off your music and you were just using the Best Buy as like extra money.
Yeah, I was already making more off my music. And at the time, I'm on my, this is my second marriage. I just married, Janice Carrito. And, but I was married before. And part of it was like I was trying to like keep that person's family. Like I didn't want to look bad, because a lot of people don't respect when you follow your dreams sometimes. And,
Right.
I was in a situation where I was kind of nervous of what people thought about me. And I was making just enough where I could quit. So I just was like, man, forget this. I had already been selling beats for only 2 years, but as soon as I started I started consistently selling beats. Like actually 2009 is when I started really taking it seriously, and I was making uploads every day. And I just started noticing, oh dude, I'm making $1,000 a month.
And that was all on MySpace.
It was, I went to SoundClick,
Okay.
and it was this one producer. Shout out to super producer A1. He's a beast producer, man. And he had that Prince sound. He had that, those Lynn drum sounds and stuff. And he's like, yo, he goes, you should, I started doing collabs with him, and then he gave me the confidence to kind of make beats, put more of my beats out. He goes, I know you're an artist and everything, but dude, he goes, what are you doing with all these tracks? I go, I don't know. He goes, you need to like try to make a business out of it. And I was like, all right. I had sold a couple beats prior on MySpace, but I didn't take it seriously.
Right.
So then this guy gave me the confidence to try it for myself, to take it seriously. So I started making consistent uploads to SoundClick, and then within a couple months, within like 4 months, I was making about $1,000 every month. And man, I remember I had gained a lot of weight at that time because I started eating more because I was getting. I'm serious. I was like 180, and then I like after a year of getting those beat checks, I went up to like 225. Yeah, I was eating like Red Lobster 3 times a week, bro. Because I was like, I had at Best Buy, I was only making like $800 a month, so I was like, dude, I got an extra $1,000 in my bank, and this was 2009 and 10, and it went I was hitting Red Lobster every other day, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, what'd you say?
No, go ahead.
And then so I started making those consistent uploads. So after about about a year and a half into it, I was still working I had relocated. I was actually living in Portland, Oregon. And then I relocated to the Bay Area in California. And I was still working at the electronic Best Buy store. And in my head, I was like, I didn't even know why I was still there, because they only pay me a couple $100. So, but like I said before, I had more to do with, the family of the ex-wife. And so like I wanted to put on an image that I was responsible, you know what I mean? But at that point, I was already making money, and I was confident because, it was coming through every month. Every month I was making at least $1,000. From some months it might be like 800, but for the most part it was about 1,000. So I just quit. And then from there, my money, when I quit in 2011, and I started making a lot more stuff. So my sales went up, and it started going up. And then I kind of stayed in that range for a while of just making like $1,000 to $1,500 for the next couple years. And, I just lived in California. I lived in this town called Benicia, a really nice town. It's right by the water and stuff like that. And I just made my beats every day and was making albums at the same time. And then then I moved, I divorced that person and I moved back to the Seattle area. And then some stuff started happening with these music videos that I was putting on YouTube on these playlists. And my beats were, and then, that was still going. And then all of a sudden this AdSense money came into play where I was getting millions of plays on my videos. And next thing you know, like YouTube sending me like, a $9,000 check and stuff. And then, and then you're getting $5,000 check. Then without realizing it, my money had increased from my beat sales. But I'm like, yo, I just bought a Benz. I'm like, wait, how much money am I making from this? And I'm like, oh, I got 5,000 from the beat sales and then a $9,000 AdSense check. I'm like, damn it, like 14 G's. Like I had never made that kind of money before. So I was actually really, really nervous because I was like, man, I knew that taxes was a lot. And so I ended up, having to pay a big tax bill and stuff. And this was in 2015. So, I was making a steady earning on my beats, and then the YouTube thing took off, and that added another source of revenue. So I had the AdSense revenue, I had my beat sale revenue, and then I had my revenue as an artist from Spotify and iTunes. And I'm not getting maybe I'm doing 2 shows a year max for free though. I'm not even getting paid for it. And before, and then I had my publishing, BMI publishing that comes in every quarter. So without realizing it, I was stacking up different revenue streams. And then that was it. And then, a really good friend of mine, Chinchilla Beats, he's another producer. He actually made my website for me at a discounted price. I got to give him a shout out. So back in 2004, another thing that took my sales to the next level for my beats is when I built my website, I guess people maybe started taking me more seriously. So Chinchilla, he built my website in 2014. So when he built my website, my sales doubled. And I went down,
You had it set up where they could just buy the beat right from your website?
Yeah, because on SoundClick, I was making my little $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And I was averaging that for years and years. And then in 2014, when I got my website built, I don't know what happened, but I think people just started taking me more seriously. So then my sales doubled up. And then next thing you know, I'm like, hey, mom, I'm going to go buy a Benz. And I tricked off a little money. It was probably pretty stupid, honestly. But
so wait, lesson number 2 from the podcast is you need a website.
Yeah,
social media that's not enough. If you want to be taken seriously, you need a website.
Yeah, get yourself a website, and a mailing list. I learned a lot from watching other people on YouTube too, because I didn't. It's not like I knew everything right away. It's just after doing stuff for a while, I was like, oh, okay, I got almost 1,000 different people that buy beats from me. So, maybe I should have a mailing list to stay in touch with them, and then so that that helped me out. But the website's very important because everybody needs to realize that social media they can hijack your page, YouTube or Instagram. They could shut you down for something. You don't want to cut off your livelihood. So right. You have to have a platform. Let's hope that doesn't happen to everybody, but it's happened to me before. I've got deplatformed on SoundClick they used to take my page down for a couple of days sometimes, and I would freak out because I was making all my money from there. Right. I don't rely on them anymore, but I know other producers have experienced that as well with SoundClick, where they take their page down for a couple of days, and that kind of taught me that I need my own website. So,
right. But speaking of YouTube, so that's actually how. I think is that how we met? Or do we? So to tell everybody how we met, and then I'm going to tell you what my initial thought was when you first reached out to me.
So on YouTube, I have all these playlists that I made, that these R&B playlists, and I was like, wow, it was doing my page. I got 66 million views on there, and I was just thinking, I was like people would ask me for help sometimes, and I'm like, some of the times the people who hit me up for help, it's like they're not that great. You know what I mean? They're not that good. And I'm like, I don't want to put a bunch of whack people on these playlists. So I started, searching the internet for talented artists and just sending out people messages and stuff. Hey, like, would you want to be a part of this, what I'm doing? And most people initially rejected it. But you were one of the people that was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. You know what I mean? So, and that just kind of happened left field because I made these playlists like YouTube, and now I have them on Spotify as well. But I just made that because, well, to make it, simple, like other people were doing these playlists and I put my videos on there. Right. And, they charged me or whatever, but it was worth it. And, man, the results were so crazy. And I had this dude who was putting me on these Billboard playlists. Shout out to Chase Media. He ended up giving his page away to like some big company. But this guy was really cool. Like he managed a couple of my songs and he kind of taught me how to make how playlists work. And then my younger brother, I have a brother that does music, Styles Major. He was experimenting with playlists as well. And what was happening is the ones that take off, like you could put your video on there and it would just blow. It could just blow up if the playlist is doing well. And I was like, man, I got to get on this. So I started making my own. And next thing you know, I got like 10 different playlists that have 2-3 million views on them. And I'm like, whoa, so, sharing is caring. And I'm like, let me see, let's see who else out there is dope. And let's see if they want to be a part of it, because especially when you're independent, like it's really hard to get people to get that radio play or to get, how do you, like Google AdWords can be confusing. And like, it's like, what is the next thing to get, and so one of the biggest waves right now is the playlist. So it's like, luckily, I caught on to it early on.
You did, because when you first hit me up, I thought it was a scam.
Yeah,
I thought it was a scam. I never heard of YouTube playlists. But for some reason, I liked your energy. I felt like you were a genuine person.
Thanks,
And
man.
when you first reached out to me, my YouTube channel had maybe like less than 200 subscribers.
Yeah, man.
And now I'm pushing like 7,000.
Yeah, man. Like honestly, you're the success story from those playlists. Every time people want to get on and they go, "Hey, can I get your music on there?" And they go, "Who else has been on there?" And I was like, "Man, this is the most successful person that I've put on here." I was like, I put his record on there, and it's like it just like went insane. Like I don't know, like what happened, like the mix of like the clickbait and everything, but because
you talking about sex tape.
Sex tape
Got over 9 million views on that video from your playlist.
That is crazy. Like honestly, I was just hoping to. I remember I told you it's like I think I could do like 1 million in a couple of years. But what happened is that once it hit to that million, like like something happened when it hit that first million where it's like YouTube like started recommending it more. So and when I would look at my playlist, it would show me the data of what videos were being clicked on, and I would look at your video and like. Your video was like on one playlist was getting like 5,000 clicks and the other videos were getting like maybe like 50 to 60 to 70 clicks. And I was like, yo, people are going crazy. Like they're seeing that and just clicking on it right away. So I was like, so it really does. I tested it out too with your video. And then another artist named Paloma Ford. She has a lot of clickbaity thumbnails. I did that with hers and I ended up getting her video like 3 million hits too. And I was like, dang. So I started telling people like, hey, have a good thumbnails and because I'm seeing the difference. It's like literally like millions of views. Like it could be costing you millions of views if you don't have the right title and the right thumbnail,
Right. So takeaway number 3 from this show. You got to have a great song. You got to have a good video, and you
Yeah.
got to have a thumbnail for the video and a title for the video that makes people want to click on it. And then you get with a dude like Tony Sway, who got the playlist game on Smash, and you'll get the views. Like, and what's crazy is that usually only major label artists can get songs on YouTube with over 1 million views. Usually, you never see that from an
Yeah.
independent artist. And even the Drake ish song I got, that video got like 250K views.
It's hard, man. It's got to the point now because the playlists are like it's like a mainstream thing where you know I'm not really like even trying to push it. Like I only want it to be for the people that I really like their music. But now I get hit up like I'm getting emails every day, and surprisingly I'm getting reached out to by record labels and I'm like, man, when I was younger, I was praying for record labels to reach out to me.
So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So record labels are now reaching out to you to get their major label artists on your playlist.
Yeah, so whether it be like an A&R from whether it be an A&R from Sony or whatever, like they're like, hey, I got this artist. Can you put him on your playlist? And I'm like, yo, okay. And it's funny because it's like, wow, I'm just kind of just like this everyday person. So when you got big time execs reaching out to you for help, I guess it's kind of humbling in a way because it's like I've never thought of. I just thought of myself as like, oh, I got this little thing. People like these playlists. I mean, I'm glad that they do.
What it shows is that it shows that a lot of music executives, they're trying to figure it out just like we are.
Yeah, they're trying to exactly. That's you hit it on the head. There is like they're just trying to figure out what's the next wave as well. So and it's like, man, okay, so it's a much smaller world than you think it is. The same people that you're aspiring to be like, they're execs and they're the people promoting their music is reaching out to all the big playlist people right now because it's hot. So especially with the whole shutdown and with everything that's happening, people are having to rely on some of those income streams more now. So everything that's going on with Spotify and just everything the streams now are all you make money off of it. So it's like if you got a record on YouTube and if you're getting the ad revenue from that, it's like you can eat off of that and you can eat off your Spotify and stuff. And so these label execs, they know that, so they're trying to get all their artists on the biggest playlist possible, man.
So not to get in your business, but if you crack the playlist code like you've done,
Right,
what type of like financial offers are these executives offering for spots on your playlist?
man. Just, like sometimes like I'll just put somebody on there and be like, hey, if you like it, like let me know. And a lot of times people will come back and be like, yo, I like appreciate your help. Here's a couple dollars, and you know what I mean. Like, they don't really like Spotify and YouTube. They don't really like, they try to tell people not to do that. But when I talk to people, I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I'm gonna push your record for you. I'm gonna take it as a responsibility on my end to make sure that your record is on the top of these playlists and that you're getting seen. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so people throw you a couple $100 or 300, $400 or something like that. It's $500 sometimes, and it's just kind of I don't really push it out there too much because I just save it for a few people that I really like their music. So it's kind of one of those side things that you just like, okay, if you want to pay me to help promote a song or something like that, cool, let me see what it sounds like. And sometimes I turn people down because I'm like, yo, this doesn't really go with what I'm doing, you know what I mean? So
Right. Plus, you don't want to bring down the quality of your playlist.
yeah, so I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man. And of course, it's nice, of course, that you that you can get paid from it as well because you're providing a service for artists. But to me, it's the reward factor for me is that I'm that starving artist. That's why I made those playlists. Is like, so when somebody wants to promote their record, I just relate to them. Like I know how you feel. If there's anything that I could do on my end to help you get closer to your goal, that's all I'm trying to do.
Right.
And and just that's it. Because I think, like, especially as independent artists, like, we need to show that support. Obviously it's a business as well, but we all need to support each other because musicians, we have it hard, man. Like, we're trying to follow our dreams, and a lot of times a lot of us are very discouraged, the same way I was discouraged when not a lot of people believed in me when I was, my mom believed in me, my brother, and they believed in me and stuff. But a lot of people that I work with, a lot of people are like, why, they're like, that's cool and everything, but what you really going to do to make a living? So I know how it feels to be like that. So when people are reaching out to me, I try to let them know, like, hey, my goal is to try to eventually put, I can know it's not about money, but I put these people on these playlists and I never take them off of it because I want them to get their money's worth out of it. You know what I mean?
Right. But even with, like, a lot of people don't know, even though YouTube doesn't pay artists well,
Yeah.
it's one of the main mechanisms for people to find music.
To find exactly.
So for exposure purposes, you gotta be on YouTube.
Yeah, you got to be on YouTube, man. And a lot of my beat sales are pretty, like, besides Instagram and YouTube is where most of my beat sales come from. So that's where people are becoming fans and supporters. So to get that exposure is so important, man. Like,
So how do you sell beats through Instagram?
a lot of times people will just, they'll see something on Instagram and they'll DM me and be like, yo, what's that beat you just posted? Let me get that. Just really simple stuff. Like, they'll just find it. I don't know. Instagram recommends certain things, and my following on Instagram is small, but people find beats on there too. Like, a lot, at least 30% of my sales come from there, so, people will just DM you and just be like, yo, I like it. Or sometimes they'll just bypass talking to you completely and then just buy it. And then you find out that they got it from Instagram or something,
Yeah, I mean, your following Instagram is not that big, not that significant, but you put up quality beats, and you have quality beats, and your beats are spread out across multiple platforms.
Yeah.
So that people will have more ways of accessing your content, and therefore the likelihood of you making a sale is higher.
Yeah, I definitely spread my beats out pretty much on so many different platforms. Like, my beats are hosted by Airbit on my website, and they have they have a big user base. So sometimes people will just go through the actual, like, Airbit website and just like, they won't even be going through YouTube. They'll just find my beats because the site Airbit will recommend it. And then same with BeatStars. I have my beats on BeatStars, and I don't promote them at all. I just throw them on there, and I'm always getting all kinds of sales from there I'm not even promoting them on there. They're just people. I guess they have their own social network within their platform where people just find it, and I'm like, wow, I just posted these beats, and just people are buying them on there too. So, especially if you're making beats, or even if you're an artist, you want to be kind of like omnipresent, or omnipresent. I can't even say it right.
Omnipresent.
Omnipresent. Yeah, you want to kind of have that mindset, like, try to be as many places as you can, because you can make fans from all different platforms.
Yeah, what I found is that being omnipresent, but having good quality on all those, like, wherever you are.
Yeah.
So don't be anywhere where you can, halfway, run it. Just make sure everywhere you are, it looks professional and it's quality there. That's what I've seen. But so usually I like to keep this podcast 15 to 20 minutes. We've gone way over the time, but I'm not mad because you definitely have given some insightful information and perspective And you are actually a success story that a lot of producers and artists could could follow and could model after. So before I let you go, just let us know, what are you working on now to continue to grow your business, and what else are you working on musically and stuff like that?
Yeah, one thing I want to say for musicians who are trying to follow their dream out there, you always got to set goals constantly. Like, especially if you, let's say you actually accomplish one of your goals, you got to keep setting new standards. So like that's kind of just where I'm at with it mentally. Like right now I'm trying to I'm really just trying to like you know, deal with these Spotify playlists with the R&B. I'm trying to like go insane. I think I'm like at 4,000 playlists made. Like when I talk about like, people think that you have to, everything don't have to be paid when you're doing on the internet. Like everybody thinks that, oh, go on the internet, find somebody to promote. That works. But also don't be afraid to put in that grind work too. Like I'm kind of just a crazy dude. So I'll make a couple beats in a day, and then I'll get off the synthesizers and the drum machine, and then I'll go to the laptop, and then I'll knock out like 5 playlists. And like I have just this mentality of like, okay, what's my new standard? Okay, like in 2 years I want to be able to generate 4 million plays a month on my Spotify. Like
So wait, did you just? I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said you've created 4,000 Spotify playlists.
it's probably more than that. Like I have
Wow.
I have like 10 or 11 pages. Like last time I checked, it was around like 4,000. But I've lost track by this point, man.
So how do you, with that many pages? I mean, that many playlists. I'm sure some of them have to be duplicated. I mean, you have that much content.
Yeah. So I'll just come up with I'll try to think of, okay, what's the next playlist that people want to look like? Okay, people, so I have one playlist that's like relaxing songs for sleep, right? I think I got one of your joints on there, a couple of your joints, some Sade joints, Lena Baraz joints. Like each playlist is like a different mood that you want to create. So I'm like, okay, what do I want to create for people out there? Okay, I did a relaxing for sleep playlist. Okay, then what do I want to make for the people out there who got their girl or something like that, and they're trying to impress a new girl, and or something. Let me make that bedroom playlist for those people.
So once you make the playlist, how do people find them?
I don't really do much to promote it. I try to use like the most powerful keywords. Like everybody's always searching like sexy. People search slow jam. People search these terms when they're on Spotify, because they're finding those playlists and they're following them. And then when I look at the analytics, I'm like, wow, like people are, they're gravitating towards it. Like almost like it's like they're looking for a radio station. Almost like if you're like big into R&B, it's like, man, I need to listen to some sexy slow jams. Let me type that in. And they find that playlist on Spotify. They're like, oh, okay, let me see this. And they go, oh, this person got another, 100 playlists on. Let me see what those are about. And like a lot of the listeners for my playlists are in like ATL, Miami, places like that. People, they really love R&B in those areas, man. So everything that I'm doing is like guerrilla marketing, I guess. Like
Right. So you create a whole bunch of playlists with titles that are almost like clickbait,
exactly.
and then you put good quality songs on there and throw a few of your own or whoever artist you're trying to promote, and then they just get picked up with the they just get picked up with the momentum.
That's exactly what it is, man. That's all it is. It just gets picked up with the momentum. And I hope that, one day places like Spotify reveal more about the people who are subscribing to the playlist. That, my grandest goals is what, I want to own the Spotify platform one day,
Yeah.
That's like what, my grandest goals when I'm up, when I'm in the 50s or something like that, when I'm like 50 years old or something, because like they own all that data I want to know who's actually subscribing. I don't know. They only show me what areas, they show me what the areas are and stuff like that. So which is cool, but I would like to make more of a personal connection with some of the people that are,
They don't even show you on the Spotify for Artists app?
no, they just show you the location. They go, you're popular in these locations, So, but maybe in time you'll, there'll be something like that. But
Spotify executives, if you're listening, take some notes. They
yeah,
could more money.
Exactly, man. So, I would like to make a deeper connection with the people that are actually following these playlists. But my hunch is, I think there's a lot of, I think it's like 50-50. I think it's like 50% artists and then 50% fans, because I know artists are always looking for ways to get on the playlist.
Right.
And then I'll get messages from people on Instagram who said, "Oh, I found your song on a YouTube playlist or a Spotify playlist," and I'm like, "Okay." So that's the only times where I actually know who it is. But I know I keep running on and on. But for just all the musicians.
Do you know how many streams per month your playlists get on Spotify, and how many views per month your playlists get on YouTube?
I used to check the YouTube ones all the time. I've actually never. I never actually. There is a website where you can check how much a Spotify playlist is doing. I actually never used it. I just kind of go by how many plays it's doing for my own song. So I'm like, okay, this is doing really well for this song, so I'm going to put these people on this playlist. So I kind of like for mine, I'll be like, okay, this is doing 100,000 streams, so let me throw people on this playlist, and that's kind of how I go about it. You know what I mean? But
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, man. All righty. So Tony Sway, thank you. Thanks again for coming on to the Trav Torch Show podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's been a pleasure. Before we go, just let people know how they can reach you on social media and your website and all that good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. You can reach me, Instagram at Tony Sway, or just you can find me directly at my website, tonyswaymusic.com, and you can get my email and everything from there. So tonyswaymusic.com, Instagram at Tony Sway, and come check me out on YouTube. YouTube.com/Tony Sway official, and man. So that's what it is, and just everybody out there, stay inspired, set your goals high, and just work like crazy towards them. So.
Definitely. I'm inspired already, and we're going to work. I'm going to have to get you on this next project.
Now, man, got to.
All right, brother.
All right, Trav, man, it was good chopping up with you, man. I like what you're doing, and definitely you got my full support, man.
Appreciate you. All right, man, take it easy.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Right, peace.